Okay, good morning everyone. Shalom Aleichem, Bruchim Habayim. Parshas Bereshis. We have a short Dvar Torah Wednesday morning. So I just want to share with you a brief thought in connection to what's taking place in the world as we speak. The Jewish people are at war. Human nature is to say, look, I'm not a soldier, I'm not in the front lines. And even though I believe Be'emunah Shalema that the root of everything is in Shamayim, meaning whatever we see in this world is an after effect. It's already the foregone conclusion of what first transpired in Shamayim. So we all believe this is a war that takes place in heaven between Yishmael, forces of evil, and Klal Yisrael. But nevertheless, human nature is to say, look, ma ani u'ma chayai, who am I? And whatever influence I may have is probably negligible relative to very great people. So most people don't wake up in the morning with a bounce in their step, with adrenaline flowing that they're in a war. But the first thing we need to think is, that's not correct. The same way if somebody was camping out in a tent somewhere near Gaza or in the north, and they're on high alert, so their adrenaline is going because they're in the battle, they're at the war, then Ma'aminim b'nei Ma'aminim should feel no different. We believe that our mitzvahs and masim tovim not are no less important, are more important. That's our emunah. Which means that Shachris is it's not a regular Shachris now, it's not a regular mincha, these are not ordinary mitzvahs. They're never ordinary, but especially not now. But it's more than that. Because sometimes we see, okay, the Gadol, his Shachris, the tzaddik, his mitzvahs. Rabbi says, Parshas Bereshis, the Mishnah says in Sanhedrin, when Hashem created the world, He created many horses, many donkeys, many rabbits, many cows, many moons. He created only one man. Lefikach nivra adam yichidi, kedei loymar b'shvili nivra olam. A person is obligated to say, chayiv adam loymar b'shvili nivra olam. Now let's study that. What does that mean? I'm obligated to say the world was created for me. If the world was created for me, that means there's a war in the world because of me. Yeah, no kidding. Good morning, America. Good morning. Every person is obligated to say, there's a war in the world because of me. You're obligated to say that. And you're obligated to say that my conduct will spell the difference in the war. That's not like a good thing to think about. It's an obligation. That's how we view it. We view that the war is because of me, and my deeds affect the outcome of the war. The Gemara says in Tainis Chaf Aleph Amud Beis that there was a fire in the neighborhood of Rav Huna. There was a fire in the city, and in the neighborhood of Rav Huna there was no fire. So everybody thought it was because of Rav Huna. Gemara said no, it wasn't because of Rav Huna. There was a woman who had an oven, and she would heat up her oven for people who didn't have an oven. And therefore, her whole neighborhood was saved because of her. You hear this? There's a raging fire. So what saved the neighborhood? A big tzaddik? No, it wasn't a big tzaddik. It was one woman. What did she do? Millions of mitzvahs. She had an oven. She heated it up for other people. That spelled the difference between life and death in her city. The Gemara says there was a plague. In the neighborhood of Rav, there was no plague because there was somebody who would lend out his shovel for Kvuras Mesim. When the Titanic sunk, one of the Darshanim gave the following Dvar Musar. He said, everybody thought they would be saved by the big ship, but it turned out that it was the small lifeboats. And this is how we have to view a situation in Klal Yisrael. It's not always the big tzaddik, the big gadol. Usually it's the small deed of any regular individual. So two important points. Number one, we'll start with the last one. The difference for Klal Yisrael will be spelled very often by a small mitzvah, a small masim tovim. Nothing is insignificant. Chovos Havava says, Hama'at mikem hu rav etzlai. A small mitzvah on our part looms large in the eyes of Hashem. So any small thing we could do makes a big difference. But more importantly, one has to view themselves that they are the general of the battle, because they are. Because in the world that you live in, which is your world, everybody lives in their world. Everyone has to say, the world was created for me. Now, when you deal with your friend, you also have to know it was created for him as well. But in terms of how a person should see the value of their avodas Hashem, a person has to say, this war is happening because of me. The war will be won or lost because of me, and what I do makes a difference. That's the clear implication of a simple Mishnah in Masechta Sanhedrin of Lefikach Nivra Adam Yechidi. So the Rebbeinu Shem should watch over Klal Yisrael and protect us. And everyone's invited to tonight's share at 8:30. Tonight's share, the topic will be murder in paradise. Very, very geshmaka subject. Everyone's invited, and I wish you all a wonderful day.